Hey traders, Nick from Vant Trading here, coming at you with our weekly watch list going into the week of February 21st to February 27th. So we're going to have an interesting 5 days here. Market's been doing a lot of interesting stuff. So what my plan is here, I'm going to be walking through, first of all, our opinions on the stock market going into this week, what you need to be looking out for, the levels we're watching, and then I've got about 24 stocks, both for day traders and for swing traders, that I think are actually setting up really nicely and setting up for some breakouts. Obviously, this won't cover every stock that's in play every day because, look, breaking news happens, new things happen. Who knows, the market structure could change. But technically speaking and fundamentally speaking, these are some of the more interesting stocks that we think are most immediately in play going into this week. So let's get ready and let's get started. Reminder, if you have any questions or you want me to give any analysis on any other tickers, drop them in the comment section below. If this video was at all helpful, be sure to drop a like, makes me feel a little better, and be sure to subscribe to our YouTube so that you can get alerts on any new videos. So without further ado, let's dive on into this. First of all, as always, looking at the market first. Look, we've had a nice little bit of consolidation here. We had an attempted breakout. We've dip bought off of 388 several times now, and we're really just kind of whipsawing around here. If I zoom on into the SPY and we take a look at the hourly chart, you can really see the volume nodes that are going on from 388 to about that 392-ish is really where we're pinned in between now. If we do drop this 388, because look, we keep dip buying off of here, but the more we test it, the more worrisome it can become. So if we break that 388, you'll have a little consolidation or resistance that should hopefully turn to support at 385. And if we do break that, look at 381 to hopefully be a little bit more of longer term support. If I zoom out even further here, maybe we go a couple days and then zoom on in, this 381 should really hopefully hold. It's been a pretty decent level since the beginning of the year. Now, if we break off and hold and break out of that 392, I expect the stock market to run, barring any headlines, because at that point we're in open air. We've really broken out. Anyone who's been panicking here and shorting here is going to get squeezed out and is going to chase in FOMO. In terms of news you need to look out for, Jerome Powell speaks twice this week, first on Tuesday at 10 a.m. Eastern and then once on Wednesday at 10 a.m. Eastern. We also have GDP on Thursday and our jobless claims. Those are going to be the big headlines to keep an eye out for, and keep your ears open for any stimulus talks. The stimulus has been going through the Senate. They've been taking a look at it, kind of kicking the tires. If we hear any headlines that may both bolster or hinder the progress on stimulus, definitely expect the market to react, because that's been something that's been really affecting the market. Another thing you need to be watching when you're going into the market, watch these 10-year treasury rates. The 10-year long-term rates have really been taking off here. We've really been seeing them running, and Mike's been talking about this on our podcast every day at 1 p.m. Eastern, about how that this is going to be a battle for Jerome Powell, and is he going to need to help fix this yield curve? Because look, as the 10-year treasury rates have been going up, we've been seeing the market experiencing some weakness and some uncertainty. So that's going to be something you have to watch, because that's going to directly affect the market. And of course, you need to be watching Bitcoin, because Bitcoin has been running along with the market. Bitcoin's been absolutely exploding, broke out going into the end of the week, and it's going to be something that everyone's going to be paying attention to. It's going to have a direct correlation on the market. So those are going to be some of the top things you need to keep an eye on there going into the market. Overall, look, the IWM has really been leading the way here. We need the IWM to hold over 225. If that happens, these small caps should continue to lead us out of here. Big tech has been lagging. Big tech's holding in there, but if big tech starts to drop this 20-day SMA, which is sitting right around that 330, then we might get a little shaky. So those are your things to keep an eye on in the market going into this week. Now, without further ado, let's dive on into some of the top stocks in play. First of all, I'm going to take a look at some of the day trades that we're seeing, some of the stocks that are really running and that are really in play. First of all, FRX. This is one of the new SPACs coming out. I've talked about this several times. It provided some really good trading opportunities. This is Beachbody. I believe it's a workout multi-level marketing company breaking out here. And Friday, we had a nice little breakout, really good volume in the morning that kind of dried out. Now, if going into Monday we gap up and we see us at new highs, you could continue to see this run. Otherwise, expect it to consolidate. Also, GHVI. This is the stock that not many people talked about, but I called out all day, every day over the last week about this nice little wedge breakout that we saw. If I zoom on in here and zoom into the 5-minute, you'll see this nice wedge that we finally saw break out of 20. It got some CNBC pumps. We finished at the highs. I expect this to gap up and potentially give us a little more opportunity. Great little breakout here on GHVI. CCIV, this is another SPAC that has been going crazy. I believe this is an electric vehicle SPAC. We've seen this run astronomically over the last couple of days here. Yesterday was a very big red day. I did not see any headlines on this one, but look at this end of day selling. People finally didn't want to be the bag holders. People panicked out. So what you're going to be watching on this one is, are we going to start to get that pullback? We need to get back over kind of this 57-ish if you want to really see it hold up. But if we start rolling over and we start reapproaching these lows here around $50, then be cautious because we might get a little bit of opportunity here. So that's one of the other SPACs that are in play. Some other stocks you want to be watching. Look, if you're at all interested in Bitcoin, you want to trade on that Bitcoin hype, Riot has been in play. I hate to say it, everyone's trading it, everyone's watching it, but Riot has seen that volume surge. We've really seen it take off here. In the last 3 days alone, we've seen massive swings from highs to lows. So Riot has been providing some really good day trading and momentum trading opportunities. It's going to be a little hard to watch. You're going to have to keep a bead on Bitcoin, keep a bead on maybe these highs and lows. There's a lot of kind of choppiness within here, but I think that, if this can hold up and start reapproaching the highs, we could get an even further squeeze. And at this point, if this continues, it's going to approach $100. If you want to play a different Bitcoin stock that's also been equally, if not as strong, is Can do attitude here, baby. Canaan, Bitcoin play, been running over the last week or so. We've seen it go from 6 to 24. Friday was a massive day for it, and we saw really great strength, really good plays off of VWAP, off of consolidation, and now it looks like we're probably going to be gapping up. So CAN, another Bitcoin play that you could potentially be looking at if you wish. Baidu had some good earnings on Thursday. We saw them get hit, and we saw the dip buyers come in force. Look at these 2 days off of Baidu. Absolutely rip-roared back up to the highs and beyond. Not quite sure how I want to play this Baidu yet because this is insane buying. Yes, Baidu did have some headlines yesterday. We had the CEO coming out and talking about the EV venture and plans for an EV launch electric vehicle in the next 3 years. So, their businesses look positive in the 2021. That's what we've been seeing a lot of cheaping about going on last week. I believe they may have gotten some upgrades as well, but Baidu's been an absolute monster. I expect after this Friday, a lot of people are going to be looking at this. We'll probably see some volume pop in, so I'd expect to see some action in Baidu going into Monday. Now, what are some other stocks that we're looking at? Well, we've got a couple interesting stocks that we're waiting on. We're kind of waiting to see what happens here. Workhorse has been absolutely in play. They finally broke these ascending lows and gave us a great short opportunity. When is the dip buy going to happen? That's going to be something we're going to be watching very closely. I'm still watching Twitter. Twitter has gone up absolutely astronomically, huge gap up on earnings and has been running. I think we're a little topped out here. I think we just kind of put in this little double top at 75. I'll personally be watching Twitter. If I zoom on in here, I'll be looking for that break below 72. We also have ACIC. This is a nice little stock that's kind of been consolidating up here, trying to break out, failed on Friday, but could retry that 17. If it breaks 17, it could give us some opportunity. AMD, a lot of our traders love AMD, but AMD's been lagging a little bit. The moving averages, the 20 and the 50, have crossed. Watch AMD because if we get back up to the highs, it could be a great breakout opportunity, or if it rolls over here, this 87 is a massive level on this stock, and it could cause it to pull back even all the way down to the 200 moving average. Keep an eye on AMD because we've seen the other semiconductors run. Intel popping, MU screaming higher. MU is an absolute beast right now, so there are plenty of opportunities in these chip makers. Definitely keep an eye on them. I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about the wheat stocks. We like GrowGeneration long term. We like them more as a company. They're kind of consolidating here. If I zoom on in here, obviously wheat stocks have been very in play. It's something that the market's been watching. You've got some pretty good descending highs here to watch. This is what you want to watch. If GrowGeneration squeezes through this on Monday, I think we get a really nice short-term squeeze. We like GrowGeneration more as a company anyway. I'd rather play this company than a Tilray or an ACG or an SNDL, any of those guys. I think GrowGeneration is the way to go personally. That's still setting up. What are some interesting stocks that we think are breaking out? Look at Snapchat. Beautiful, beautiful breakout here on the daily, a lot stronger than the market. We've seen this thing marching higher. Snapchat continuing to push. Nice little end of day strength. I think Snapchat breaking out for a potential swing, maybe even day trade. We're seeing some reopening plays start to pop out. Southwest Airlines, look at this great flag break. Southwest Airlines has almost regained the pandemic kind of breakdown point. I'd rather be playing these stocks than a garbage company like American Airlines. You could try to play JetBlue. JetBlue's breaking out as well. We're seeing Spirit Airlines very strong. We're getting some interesting momentum opportunity in some of these plays. I'd be very cautious how long you're buying and what your time horizon is and your risk horizon is on here. But we are seeing the airlines pop, and we're also seeing the cruise lines pop. Which depending on which one you want to play there, I leave it up to you. Norwegian Cruise Line does have earnings this week. They have earnings on Thursday morning, so keep that in mind. We are seeing some movements in there, and depending on what they say on their earnings, they could affect the other cruise lines depending on what they say looking forward. Some other stocks that are setting up nicely, QS. QS has been breaking out, really nice rebound here. They still have a pretty hefty gap to fill here, all the way up to 84. Do we think they're going to fill that gap? If the volume comes in and if it holds, we could potentially see some nice movements here. It needs to hold this 62. We want to see it return up to the highs here. I want to see QS get going. SPR as well. SPR, beautiful breakout. Look at this breakout on the daily. This is not Spirit Airlines. It is Spirit Aerosystems. Don't know what they do. I love this consolidation break. I love the moving averages are starting to curl back up. I want to see some action on this one. I want to see confirmation though. And VUZI. Been very much in play. Volume's been a little light, but we're seeing it kind of start to break out. If it can get through this 18, which has kind of been a high on it, and we're already seeing that in the after hours, looks like they had some nice little headlines there where they were talking about some M400 smart glasses aid, some interesting data on that for some medical stuff, then it looks like VUZI's going to be in play on Monday. We've got the headline, we've got the gap up. I think we see some volume surge into VUZI. What are some other swing trades or maybe even potentially day trades that we're looking at? I think Walmart is posed to be something that you should keep an eye on here. You've had a pretty big drop. They had earnings. They had some headlines. We're sitting right on this 200-day simple moving average. You'll probably see a lot of buying in here most likely. We've already seen it over the last 2 days. I'd like to see Walmart get up here and maybe test that gap or test those moving averages. Obviously, it's Walmart. DocuSign, great breakout potential here. Look at this beautiful breakout. We've had beautiful ascending lows here. This is something I've been kind of momentum trading over several days, all throughout this process. It's been a really good stock. It's something definitely to keep an eye on here. Beyond Meat's rolling over. They had this massive gap up on that partnership with PepsiCo. We tried a secondary breakout. That failed, and now we're moving back down. Beyond Meat does have earnings this week. That is going to be something you need to keep in mind. They have earnings on Thursday after the close, so make sure you're paying attention to that. But Beyond Meat on the way down here looks like it's returning to the 50 personally. We'll see. Peloton as well, looking like it's rolling over. It's gotten below this key 142. We haven't really been below that since December, and there's nothing but really open air back here. So if we cannot regain this 142, I expect Peloton, we see some profit taking maybe. Moving averages are looking like they're about to cross. Keep a close eye on Peloton. If it regains that level, you could see a nice little short squeeze on that one. Chewie's an absolute monster. We're seeing it break out, putting in some nice ascending lows here. Really looking strong on Chewie. It's obviously really high, but Chewie's been run really well, and we've been seeing a lot of good data on them and a lot of good insight. So if they hold up here, I think Chewie could potentially test the highs. Definitely something I'm watching as well. A lot of our traders are trying to watch BABA. We're personally bullish on BABA. We've seen insane strength in the China sector lately. Obviously, Baidu's a good example. IQ's been pretty strong. YY's been very strong. I think SPI, no, sorry, that's the wrong one. But we're seeing a lot of strength in Chinese names. BABA hasn't really gotten going. This is the level to watch, though. This 265-ish, 266-ish, this zone has been in play since, last summer, really. So definitely keeping an eye on this level. If we can hold in there, if we can see that buying resurge, I think BABA starts making a move back up. But you got to be careful on that one, obviously. I think Cisco looking like it could give us some opportunity here. We had a beautiful breakout, headline earnings that sent us back down. Now we're back at this original breakout point. Keep an eye on Cisco. If we bounce off the 50, if we get back over $46 a share, I would like to see Cisco get back up here, even if just for the gap fill. A couple other stocks we're watching, CVX, Chevron, great breakout potential here, holding right above this 95, flagging at the breakout point beautifully. I don't like that there's a gap there, but that's okay. Moving averages stacked in our favor. I think Chevron is set to start moving higher. be careful about $100. It's a pretty big psychological level for stocks, something to keep in mind in there. A couple stocks that are really in play. I'm not really sure how I want to play this yet. Obviously, a lot of people are watching and trading Tesla. We're seeing Tesla start to kind of roll back over. $800, big psychological level. It's a big level in general, but you also have kind of this level here. Be careful with Tesla. If you want to try to swing it, God help you, because it's a very headline prone stock, obviously. But if we see this breakout, if you see that volume surge, if it rolls through the 50, I would expect a lot of people to start piling in. I'd expect some day trading opportunities out of this one for sure. Another stock our traders love to trade is Palantir, PLTR. This one's been in play a lot. We've seen it move around a lot. We're getting a little bit of action here. The volume is really starting to surge since earnings, so this one could move. I've seen this one mentioned multiple times on the Wall Street Bet subreddit. A lot of people have been trading this ever since the original run-up back in November. So, this one can get volume. This one can get going. I want to see us fill this gap. If we get over this 31-ish and we kind of hold up here, we could see a secondary move back up to highs in Palantir. I'll play this in either direction, really. You really just have to see where it sets up and watch the levels. Palantir's been providing a whole lot of opportunity. Couple stocks here that are consolidating, setting up for some potential really good plays. Lemonade. We love Lemonade personally. It's one of those online insurance companies setting up some nice descending highs that I think will eventually squeeze through, but we need to make sure we hold this 141-ish. It's been a very key level here. We're sitting at the lows, which does worry me, but if it looks like we're going to start moving up, it could be some good opportunity. I don't like that the volume has dropped off, but it doesn't mean it won't come back. Keeping an eye on Lemonade for sure. A couple other stocks that we're watching. Roku's been a beast, and Roku's been holding pretty nicely here. I'm watching for these highs. I want to see if we break out again. If I zoom on in here, let's do the 10-day here. Look at this nice. It's a wide range, putting in some higher lows. We got earnings out of the way, and we rebounded nicely on those. So if we reapproach this 475, keep an eye on it. We might see something break on Roku. MVIS. This is another stock that's flagging really nicely. If I zoom on back here, look at this crazy run we've seen in MVIS. It's been absolutely in play. Microvision has been putting in some moves. Volume's been okay. If I get rid of that big day, we had some surges through this moves. Volume's kind of tapered off, but I want to see it come back. If we get over 22, I think we see that. Or hell, if you want to play on the short side, watch for that break below 19 and a return back to the lows. You might get some good opportunity there as well. And finally, you've got a couple other stocks out there consolidating with the market. You've got eBay sitting up there really nicely. You've also got the other blockchain companies that are benefiting from Bitcoin. PayPal's been one of them. A lot of headlines been coming out in PayPal, but it looks like we're seeing a little bit of almost head and shoulders action below this 300. So watch that carefully. Squarespace has been another. You've got a lot of opportunity out there if you want to play along with Bitcoin. We're already at 18 minutes. God, the time flies when I talk about stocks like this. Look, we've also got a lot of earnings this week. A whole lot of earnings coming out Wednesday and Thursday. We'll be talking about that every day, every morning, market analysis, and at 1 p.m. Eastern, Monday through Friday, we have our trading podcast. We'll be sure to talk about those, but we're going to have a lot of opportunity. We could see some stocks run into earnings. We have a lot of potential stocks waiting to break out. The market itself is waiting to break out. A lot of opportunity, very few headlines expected other than Powell and GDP and possibly stimulus, so we could have some good opportunity. Be sure to watch those rates, those 10-year rates. Be sure to watch Bitcoin. Play into momentum, play into strength. We're buying in weakness and selling into strength. Remember that. That's kind of our strategy right now. It's been working out really well. If you have any other questions, need any point of clarification, maybe a little more further analysis in any of these stocks, I tried to cover a lot for you. Drop it in the comment section. Let me know what you think, or if you want any other opinions. This was Nick from Vant Trading. I want to end this before 20 minutes, and as always, safe trading.